You have arrived here not through accident, but by a quiet summons from the depths. A summons issued not by the clamor of the world, but by the trembling chord of something ancient within you. A song you have heard since before you could name it, that feeling of secret fire flickering behind your ribs, of knowing without proof, of sensing beneath the surface. It is not imagination. It is initiation. Before we begin, take a moment to like and subscribe. The more you engage and stay with the content, the more YouTube shares these timeless insights with others. By doing so, you're not only helping this channel grow, but also spreading Carl Jung's transformative wisdom to those seeking meaning and inner truth. Let's dive into the depth of the psyche together. You, the intuitive, walk through this world half in shadow, half in starlight. You perceive the invisible architecture behind appearances. Trace the breath of archetypes through ordinary conversations. Feel the pulse of dreams even in waking hours. And yet, this gift, this profound aperture into the symbolic realm, is lined with thorns. For what you sense before you are ready to hold it can become a weight too vast to carry. You feel truths others dismiss. You perceive patterns others cannot see, but without the vessel of understanding. Such vision can unravel your inner structure like wind through unspun thread. I do not speak to the world here. I speak to the initiated few, those who carry within them the ache of having known too soon, the burden of premature illumination. You know who you are, because as I say this, your spine remembers, your dreams remember. Your heart clenches around something it cannot name. You were born between two kingdoms, the daylight realm of logic, cause, and measurement, and the midnight world of symbols, visions, and soul. In the former, you move as a visitor. In the latter, you are kin. But to dwell so near to the threshold, to hover between the veil of waking and the truth of the unconscious, is to live unarmored, to feel too much, to know without explanation. And I have seen you in the trembling children who dream of wolves they cannot yet understand, in the adults who sense deceit with no tangible proof, in the mystics who mistake their own knowing for madness. The intuitive is not often granted the luxury of guidance. We must become our own interpreters, for when the unconscious speaks through dream, symbol, illness, or synchronicity, it does not wait for our convenience. It arrives like a flood. And if we are unprepared, we drown. A girl dreams nightly of the wolf. To the untrained psyche, this is terror. To the soul steeped in archetypal language, it is the sacred masculine returning, the wild protector beckoning her to reclaim instinct. But she is too young. No one around her knows how to interpret her visions. And so what could become her ally becomes her wound. The soul speaks in riddles, and when the riddle is not honored, it becomes a haunting. Too much light too soon is no gift, it is exposure. Illumination without containment is devastation. The ego must be formed before it can be safely dismantled. Yet the intuitive often glimpses the infinite before their own name has settled in their mouth. This is the paradox. The gifted are often fragmented. The most haunted are also the most holy. And so what can be done? Must we abandon this vision to preserve sanity? No, we must ritualize it. We must sanctify it. We must engage the mythic tools of the old ways, dream tending, active imagination, the sacred craft of symbolic literacy. These are not decorative mysticisms. They are shields for the soul. If you are intuitive, you must not only feel, you must translate. You must transform what you sense into form, else it will transmute into symptom. Anxiety is often the residue of unspoken meaning. Depression, the voice of the unloved image within. Compulsion, the body's last attempt to enact a forgotten truth. The unconscious is not darkness. It is ancient light, unshaped by human language. It speaks not in facts, but in flames. It shows you what has not yet reached language. what must be danced, drawn, dreamt. And if you do not meet it on its own terms, it will break into your daylight in more destructive ways through sickness, crisis, loss. You must not wait for someone to understand you. They will not. The world does not yet speak your language. You must become its author. You must learn the terrain of your own soul with the devotion of a pilgrim. Ritualize what you see. Record your dreams. Trace the symbols. Honor the odd timings. Initiate yourself, or the world will do it for you violently. I dreamed once of a great cathedral submerged in black water. Within it, a candle burned. The flame was my knowing. But I could not touch it without first descending, without brushing past the bones of forsaken truths, without dissolving into the very water that once threatened to consume me. The fire is not enough. You must swim to it. You must tend it in the dark. So I ask you, when will you stop wishing someone else could name your visions? When will you cease diluting your knowing to ease their comfort? The work now is not to be understood, it is to understand, and to become the steward of your own inner temple, and to walk the sacred halls of the self, not as a lost child, but as a sovereign mystic. If you do not do this, the knowing will crush you, not because it is cruel, but because it is holy. And holiness without reverence becomes fire without form. This is how prophets become madmen, not because they see too much, but because they do not know how to carry what they see. To know without structure is to suffer, but to know with love, with myth, with ritual, with discipline, this is to become the vessel the vision has long awaited. This is the difference between drowning in the unconscious and diving into it with lungs full of breath and a lantern lit from within. So begin. Begin not with answers, but with a vow to turn toward what you see. Trust the archetype that stalks your dreams. Welcome the inner figures that appear with no invitation. Let your intuition not be a torment, but a teacher. And now, before you leave this threshold, I invite you into a ritual of number and meaning. Close your eyes. Listen for the first number that echoes up from your depths, not the number your mind thinks, but the one your soul offers like a stone in the palm. Perhaps it is 1 the monad, the origin, the primal self emerging from the void. Perhaps it is 7 the mystical union of spirit and matter, or 12 the full cycle, the sacred completion, whatever arises. Let it be your cipher. Let it be the sigil of your journey through this portal. Comment that number below. And know you are not alone. Others will speak their number too. And together, we will weave a constellation not of stars, but of souls awakening in the dark. This is no algorithmic game. This is communion. This is the secret language we've waited our whole lives to remember. Speak now. And step through the veil. One is possessed by knowing, the other becomes its steward. You are not here to be consumed by what you know. You are here to become its vessel, and that takes work. It takes discipline, not in the moralistic sense, but in the sense of shaping your psychic container. The vessel must be strong enough to hold the lava of intuition, the fire of unconscious truth. Otherwise, it will crack. And you will confuse insight with instability. I have spent a lifetime dancing on this edge. I have seen my own face inside ancient dreams. I have heard the archetypes speak in the voice of thunder. I know what it is to be devoured by knowing. And I know what it is to survive. And if I could give you one instruction, it would be this. Do not flee your visions. Learn to listen. Learn to translate. Learn to embody. Now, you may ask, what does it mean to listen? What does it mean to translate the voice of the unconscious without being swallowed by it? It begins, my friend, with reverence. The intuitive you are not just gifted, they are called. But you must understand the laws of the invisible world to answer this calling. You must know that the psyche, like the cosmos, demands balance. And wherever one pole rises light, perception, Gnosis. The shadow follows. The greater the light, the darker the shadow that is cast. This is why those who see too much often suffer so deeply. You do not merely perceive reality. You perceive through it, beyond it, behind it. You walk into a room and feel the tension between two people before a word is spoken. You hear a lie and feel its weight in your body. You look into someone's eyes and see echoes of the child they abandoned within themselves. But without a stable center, without rootedness, this knowing becomes unbearable. You begin to take on pain that is not yours. You begin to confuse your intuition with obligation. You become psychic, sponge-soaked, saturated, drowning. And so the first task is discernment. You must learn to ask, what is mine and what is not? For intuition without boundaries becomes martyrdom. Empathy without form becomes possession. You must not only perceive but also contain the intuitive view. You must build internal architecture strong enough to house the divine, to hold the terrible beauty of the unconscious without fracture. This is why I tell you, study symbols, study myth. Dream not just as fantasy, but as curriculum, for symbols are the bones of the psyche. They give form to the formless. Without them, your insight will dissolve you. Let us return for a moment to the concept of the archetype. These primordial images inherited from the collective unconscious are not just metaphor. They are living energies. When the archetype of the seer awakens in you, when the sage or the oracle begins to whisper through your intuition, you must bow to it. You must engage it. Otherwise, it will take over, and you will begin to think you are the oracle. That is the danger, to mistake the archetype for the ego, to identify with the power that merely passes through you. There is an old saying, those whom the gods wish to destroy, they first make mad. But I would add, those whom the archetypes choose to inhabit, they first empty out. You will lose your old sense of self before the new one emerges. This is the ego death, the dark night, the descent. And if you are intuitive, it will come sooner. It will come in dreams of dismemberment, in synchronicities that unravel your tidy world, in illness that has no clear name, in a crisis that no logic can soothe. These are the initiations of the soul. They are not punishment, they are preparation. You must learn to speak the language of the unconscious, not with the tongue, but with the heart. The intuitive person is a translator between realms. You are the bridge between what is seen and unseen, but the bridge must be grounded on both sides, or it collapses. You must stay connected to the world, to nature, to the body, to mundane things, lest you become a disembodied voice, a ghost whispering truths no one can hear. I remember a patient, a man tormented by visions. He saw faces in the mirror that were not his own. He heard voices at the edge of sleep. He thought he was cursed. But when I asked him to draw what he saw, to give form to the formless, the voices softened. The images became bearable. The unconscious does not want to destroy you. It wants to be witnessed, to be named, to be honored. And this is your task. Not to be fearless, but to be faithful. Faithful to what you know, even when it isolates you. Faithful to the dream, even when it confuses you. Faithful to the symbolic life, even when the world mocks it. Do not expect the collective to validate your inner truth. They are still asleep. They worship only what can be measured. But you who are intuitive, were not born to fit in. You were born to remember there is a kind of loneliness in this path. Yes, but it is not the loneliness of exile. It is the loneliness of initiation, of standing at the edge of the forest, torch in hand, knowing you must go in alone. But take comfort in this. You are never truly alone. The unconscious is not empty. It is teeming with life, with ancestors, with memories that never died, with gods wearing the faces of your fears. And when you step into it willingly, with reverence, you find allies you never dreamed existed. This is not metaphor. This is the lived truth of the soul. The intuitive person who learns to speak the language of dreams, of omens, of synchronicity. This person is guided not by external authority, but by inner law, by the self, which is the organizing principle of the psyche, the divine within. When you obey the self, you become whole, not perfect, but whole, integrated, centered, alive in both worlds. But beware. The world will tempt you to abandon this path. It will offer you comfort, conformity, anesthesia. It will call your intuition irrational, your visions madness, your feelings too much. And if you believe it, you will split from yourself. You will amputate your soul for the sake of belonging, and that is the real danger. Not what you know, but what you do when the world tells you not to know it. Do not let them take it from you. Do not let them tame your vision. Soften your seeing. Silence your knowing. The world does not need more normalcy. It needs more depth, more mystery, more soul. It needs you intact, unapologetic, initiated. You must understand. Your gift is not a commodity. It is a burdened blessing, one that cannot be handed back. Only deepened into to be intuitive is not merely to feel things more acutely. It is to suffer the truth before others know it exists. It is to stand barefoot in the storm of human emotion and feel the lightning strike the soul. It is to live as a barometer for what is unsaid, unseen, unacknowledged in others. This is why so many of you are exhausted, not from weakness, but from invisible labor. You have been carrying the unconscious for those who refuse to know themselves. And what happens when you carry what belongs to others for too long? You forget what belongs to you. You become a vessel without a base, a mystic without ground, a prophet weeping in the wilderness with no language to describe the ache in your chest. This is why I insist you must not only see, you must name what you see, you must transform intuition into insight, a raw perception into symbolic understanding. Otherwise, you will drown in the very water you were meant to channel. Let us speak now of dreams, those nightly dispatches from the other world. The intuitive person often dreams in images so vivid, so disturbing. They leave a residue on the waking mind. But the dream is never literal. It is a code, a cipher for the condition of the soul. If you are pursued in a dream, do not ask, "What does it mean to be chaste?" Ask instead, "What part of me is trying to catch up with me if you fall in a dream?" Ask not, "What am I afraid of?" but what part of me longs to descend into something deeper? The intuitive must become an interpreter of their own psychic mythology. You are both the dreamer and the dreamed, the artist and the canvas. You must take your inner life as seriously as the world takes money and war, for the soul, when ignored, declares war on the body. When intuition is denied, it finds other channels: illness, accident, eruption. Do not wait for life to fall apart, to honor your vision. Begin now. Begin with the small tremors, the gentle nudges, the signs you've caught. Coincidence. There is no such thing. There is only unacknowledged meaning. When the ancient Greeks spoke of demons, they did not speak of demons in our modern moralistic sense. They spoke of soul guides, inner forces that drive us toward our fate. Your intuition is your demon, and like all great forces, it is amoral, not good or evil, but powerful. It will destroy your false life if you do not build a true one. It will strip away comforts that keep you asleep. It will sabotage jobs, relationships, routines that do not serve your soul's unfolding. This is not punishment. This is correction. This is the soul reclaiming its throne. You were never meant to fit the mold. You were meant to break it from within, but breaking the mold means enduring the shattering. And the shattering comes with pain. That pain, however, is sacred. Do not run from it. Bow before it. The intuitive life is not pain-free. It is truthful, and truth, when it first arrives, burns. But do not fear the fire. The fire does not come to consume you. It comes to reforge you, to melt down all that is false, all that was adopted out of fear, and to leave behind only what is essential. Your essence, the you that remembers, the you that was always watching, the you beneath the masks. And so, I ask you, what do you know that you've been pretending not to know? What dream have you buried beneath the noise of reality? What whisper from your soul have you dismissed as impractical, inconvenient, or insane? It is time to turn toward it, to let it speak, to let it undo you, if that is what it requires. Because only in the undoing can the deeper self emerge. The intuitive path is not about accumulation. It is about stripping away. And what is left after the projections are dissolved, the ego humbled, the illusions burned, what is left is real. That is the gold hidden in the shadow. That is the treasure guarded by dragons in your unconscious. You must be brave enough to face them, and to face them, you must descend. You must willingly enter your own depths, not as a victim, but as a seeker, not with fear, but with sacred trembling. The psyche responds to reverence. It will not open to force. It opens like a flower opens to the sun when it is time, and when it is safe. So, make it safe. Make your inner world a place worthy of revelation. Clean the altar. Light the candle. Listen. The self speaks not in commands, but in symbols, not in answers, but in images, not in clarity, but in invitation. And when the invitation comes, do not delay. Follow the thread, even if it leads you into madness for madness. When endured with awareness, becomes transformation. The descent is not the end. It is the beginning. It is the crucible in which the intuitive is reborn, not as a passive receiver of impressions, but as an active co-creator with the unconscious. You are not meant to carry what you know alone, but you must first earn the language to share it. You must shape your knowing into form through art, through myth, through words, through ritual. Otherwise, it remains trapped inside you, like a god without a temple. Build that temple. Begin today. And when I say build the temple, I do not mean with stone or scripture. I mean within yourself. I mean shaping a life that can house the numinous, that can withstand the voltage of knowing without being reduced to ash. For the intuitive person, ordinary life must become sacred, or else it becomes unbearable. You must turn your routines into rituals. You must find meaning not only in ecstasy, but in repetition. The unconscious does not separate the mystical from the mundane. It sees everything as symbolic. You must learn to do the same. Wash the dishes with presence and you are purifying the soul. Sweep the floor and you are sweeping the clutter of the psyche. Feed the body and you are tending the temple that allows you to dream. I too perceive to feel in this way. Your life becomes an alchemical process, turning instinct into intuition, shadow into symbol, shows into cosmos. And this process is not linear. You will go through cycles. There will be days of vision and clarity, and there will be days of darkness, confusion, even despair. Do not resist the darkness. It is not the absence of light. It is the boom of transformation. In the myth of Inanna, she descends into the underworld, is stripped of her garments, her power, her identity. Only in her nakedness does she meet her death, and only through death is she reborn. This is not a story for entertainment. This is the map for the intuitive soul. You too must descend. You must go into the places within yourself that frighten you. You must sit with the abandoned child in your psyche, the rejected feminine, the exiled masculine, the creature of the shadow who holds your shame and rage and grief. Not to fix them, not to destroy them, but to recognize them, to make them known. Because what is unknown within us becomes fate. But what is known can be integrated. And what is integrated becomes power. Do not fear your shadow. It is not your enemy. It is your teacher. It is the part of you that took on the pain you could not bear. It is the container of your truth. When the world asks you to lie, to face it is to reclaim the parts of yourself you thought you had lost. To become whole is not to become pure. It is to become complete with light, with dark, with wound, with wisdom. And that completeness is what the world fears most, because a complete individual cannot be controlled. They are loyal not to outer systems, but to inner law, and so they are dangerous, and so they are often exiled, mocked, ignored. But I tell you, this exile is not failure, it is initiation. Every prophet begins in the wilderness. Every healer is first a patient. Every intuitive must endure solitude before they can lead others home. If you are alone in your knowing, you are in the right place. If you feel mad from what you see, what you sense, what you know, you are standing at the threshold. Do not turn back. Walk through. Walk through with tears, with trembling, with a soul cracked open. But walk through. Because what waits on the other side is not madness, but meaning, not insanity, but initiation. You are not broken, you are being broken open. And when the breaking is complete, when the illusion of safety, normalcy, and conformity has been shattered, then the real work begins. The work of becoming a vessel for the archetypal, not to explain it, not to argue for it, but to embody it. The world does not need more explanation. It needs incarnation. It needs people who have died to their false selves and returned bearing light. You are such a person, or you are becoming one, and the path is perilous. Yes, but it is also holy. Do not let the fear of being misunderstood prevent you from being real. Do not let the world silence you. You owe the world your integrity. And so I return to the beginning. What you know might destroy you, but only if you refuse to become the person capable of holding that knowing. Only if you deny the transformation it demands. Only if you try to stay small, normal. When your soul is asking to be vast, wild, and whole. I speak these words not only to your intellect, but to the ancient part of you that remembers who you were before the world told you who to be. That part is listening. That part is nodding. That part is ready. So go. Descend. Face what you see. Speak what you know. Dream what you fear, and return not as one destroyed by knowledge, but as one transfigured by truth. You are the bridge between worlds. Do not collapse under the weight. Stand. Breathe. Begin again. And when the darkness rises again, as it will, do not curse it. Say instead, welcome, teacher. What do you have to show me now? And now, before we part, I ask you to close your eyes, not to escape the world, but to enter it more fully. Close your eyes and feel into the places my words have stirred. Feel into the memory that was not quite conscious before this moment. That strange ache in your chest, that is not anxiety. It is recognition. It is your soul answering, yes, yes. This is what I've always known. Beneath the noise, let that knowing settle into your bones. Do not rush to interpret it. Do not force it into form. Let it move in you like the wind through leaves, like water around stone. Trust it. Trust you. And if you find yourself alone again, walking through this world with vision too sharp, heart too open, spirit too sensitive, remember, the intuitive ones were never meant to follow the path, you were meant to forge it. You were not sent here to echo. You were sent to awaken. The world may not reward your knowing. It may not understand your silence, but it will feel your presence, and that is enough. So go, child of the deep. Go, walker between worlds. Build your temple. Whisper your dreams. Dance with your shadow. And above all, do not forget who you are when no one is watching. You are the oracle you've been waiting for. And what you know when honored, when loved, when integrated, will not destroy you. It will resurrect you. Now go. Live as if the veil were thin, because for you, it already is.